Hi, I'm Stephanie Alexander and I'm going to make a blueberry roly-poly. Now this is a dish I remember from when I was a child, but I have substituted the pastry for a very light and delicate pastry which has a little bit of an unusual ingredient in it. The first thing I do, put some dried yeast over slightly warmed milk and let it settle for a few minutes. Now lard is an unusual ingredient. It's pork fat and it was used in the north of England instead of butter. If you don't want to try lard, by all means substitute butter, but it's a small quantity and it makes the whole pastry very tender. So my yeast has just about done its thing. I'm going to whisk 1 egg, and that egg is going to go into the milk, and all the liquids are going to be going into my flour. There's 1 pinch of salt in the flour and there's 1 teaspoon of sugar in with the milk. And mix that in with the egg, and then we make a well in the flour, as we keep hearing, which just really means make a hole in the middle of the flour. Tip in the liquid and start to mix with a wooden spoon. Just pull the flour in from the sides into the centre of the bowl. Get as much as you can with the wooden spoon. Okay, I think this is the moment. And I tip it out on my bench for the last few bits of kneading. What I'm looking for at this point is a nice smooth dough without too many extra lumps. All these extra bits of flour push away. Okay, so now we've got a lovely smooth ball of dough. We'll put it back in the bowl and a tea towel over it, and in an hour's time that should have doubled in size. Okay, so I've got here my little bit of 60 grams of caster sugar, which I'm put in a small bowl, and I'm going to add my lard and mix them together to make a sort of a paste, and that paste is going to go on the pastry. You'll note I've already got a buttered dish ready for the roly-poly. Now under this tea towel we should have properly risen dough. See how beautifully that looks now, how puffy it is, very soft. So I'm going to now work the dough, which means a floured workspace, out with the dough. It is very soft and easy to handle. You do need to get it quite thin and out into a rectangle. I'll give it a little bit of a floury thing and a bit of a roll. The ideal size is around about 14 to 16 centimetres wide and about 28 centimetres long. So at this point I'm now spreading the lard mixture onto the dough. Doesn't matter if it's not completely even, but we do want it over top, bottom and sides. Just think of buttering a piece of toast. And now this pastry gets folded. I'm going to put the top third in there, next third there, and over we go. Turn it 90 degrees, and then I'm going to roll that back into the same shaped rectangle. The lard and the sugar will make sort of delicious layers. Not like puff pastry, it's just it remains a very soft, lovely, spongy dough. Okay, so here I go, picking up my rolled dough into the dish, and I'm going to drizzle over it a little bit of warmed honey. It's probably enough. Then tip on the blueberries. Now, it will depend on the size of the blueberries that you have. These are very lovely Eureka blueberries that I bought at Coles. These are going in the pastry like that. That looks as if it's going to be about as many as it will fit. Now what I've got to do is encase these berries with the pastry. It's after all a roly-poly. Roll both ends together, both edges together I suppose, and make sure that that seam is together, and then turn the whole roly-poly upside down and give it a bit of a curve to be a roly-poly. Now, because it's got yeast in it, this pastry has now been worked quite hard. It probably needs to rest for 10 or 15 minutes before I put it in the oven and bake it. So I'm now going to pour some regular cream over my roly-poly and put it in the oven for about 20 minutes till it looks brown. Okay, so here's my beautiful baked roly-poly with its honey juices, and I'm now going to cut a thick slice for my own morning tea.